There it is. Welcome,
You're out.
everyone, to the Win Daily NFL pregame live stream. I'm joined by Stix Picks here. Talk about week 15 of the NFL. That came up quick. We're going to be going through all our DFS plays. Try and win some money here. Last week was quite interesting. You had to have Josh Allen or you didn't cash, most likely. You could have had Aaron Rodgers like Stix Picks over here. I know you played him in a main lineup. Did it end up cashing or did you just get destroyed?
No, it was good. Ended up cashing. I was in like the top 30 out of I think 800 in the main contest that I was in last week. But yeah, it was fantastic after the early slate, and then Josh Allen sets, I believe, the highest fantasy point output for a quarterback of all time. You would think like someone like Michael Vick did it prior, but I guess not. I mean, 3 rushing touchdowns. Obviously, that's going to break the slate, and then obviously everything he did with his arm too. So yeah, just absolutely nuts. The guy's playing at a MVP higher than like a Hall of Fame level right now. Like I'm sure MVP is his, right? His to lose at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would think. Yes, it's his to lose right now, but everyone's so just like, if someone goes off this week, then all of a sudden they're the MVP. I mean, it's going to be tough to beat Josh Allen, but let's say Jared Goff goes out and throws 5 touchdowns. They beat the Bills by, 2 scores then everyone's going to be talking about Jared Goff, even though I like him in the race. He should be in the race. But, the week before that, it was Saquon Barkley. Who's having a great season. But it's that time of year where you have to stack the good games together and then you'll win yourself an MVP. But it's going to be tough to dethrone Josh Allen. I agree with that. Also, the electric performance last week certainly is going to increase his ownership this week. I would look, he's my top QB, but you got to keep in mind too, he was playing the Rams and he was playing from behind the whole time and you just couldn't stop the dude. Now he's playing Detroit, has a better defense. I know they give up a lot of numbers to wide receivers and quarterbacks, but that's a lot. That's like game script dependent most of the time because Detroit is the highest scoring offense in the league and just smokes everyone. So everyone has to throw. So I don't know. That could be the case again here today, or maybe the Lions are playing from behind. It doesn't matter. Like the offenses aren't going to take their foot off the gas. So let's just start with quarterbacks then. Like, where are you on Josh Allen? What are you going to do with him this week?
Yeah, I love him. It's tough to fit, but there are a ton of values. If you read your article, I think the playbook also just got pushed. There are a ton of wide receiver values out there. Running back, you can kind of pay down a little bit as well for guys that are going to get 15 plus touches. So you can afford them. If I'm telling myself a story of why I wouldn't play him as opposed to last week, this is a Detroit Lions football team that could run the living shit out of the football and kill a lot of clock. So for 8,500, if you're trying to tell yourself a story on why Josh Allen doesn't put up 40 points again this week or 50, whatever it was, it's because the clock is moving. But this is a pass funnel defense for Detroit. They are healthy. They got a lot of guys back this week. The pass rush should be a little bit better, but it's Josh Allen. He's by far the best quarterback on this slate and has a great game environment in the dome where we're dealing with a lot of weather throughout mainly the early slate here today. But yeah, Josh Allen is clear number 1 for me. I'm not going out of my way to play him. I definitely have, like in a 3-entry max, he is in one of them. The other 2 quarterbacks I like a lot here this week, like I'm really taking a stance. I really like CJ Stroud. I don't see any ownership going that way. I know a lot of people really like Tua. I'm cool with that too. Like that was a tough decision for me on Stroud or Tua. The reason I like Stroud is because how I compare him up. It is a very condensed target share as opposed to Miami, where could be Jonnu, could be Waddle, could be Achane, could be Tyreek. Odell Beckham is cut or whatever. So obviously we don't have to worry about him. We never did, but just a lot more mouths to feed in Miami. And the last quarterback, I'm continuously interested in him every single week. His price is just too affordable. Obviously, we got Stone Smart value too, is Justin Herbert. So really finding a way to get like a value stack with those 2 other quarterbacks and then using Josh Allen for more of like my mid-tier wide receivers. But when I'm using Stroud, when I'm using Herbert, I can afford a lot better wide receivers that are lower ownership because everybody's playing these 5K range guys. That is kind of my mindset there.
Yeah, okay. So I like Tua. I like Stroud. I like the point that you made about Stroud, but with it being so condensed for me, it's like, can I just play Nico Collins? Maybe get out of Dodge with Stroud. So I didn't write him up. He's not in my top 5, but Tua is. He's number 4 on my list. But with the point you make about having to spread it out too, Jonnu, Hill, Waddle, even I think Washington's a decent punt here with OBJ out of town, although you're not going to be able to count on the volume. The matchup I like tremendously for him, but he might get like 2 or 3 targets, maybe house one. Jonnu, I think he's going to be more involved this week in regulation, like what, or, during the actual like first 4 quarters instead of overtime. Like what the hell was that last week? Do you have a read on why Jonnu Smith didn't play, or
he played, he ran a ton of routes,
right.
He just didn't get the football, and then it's like, okay, we need to win this game in March, and he got the first 3 plays, and then obviously the touchdown too, and hit value just solely on one drive. It's frustrating. That's kind of like my issue with playing them, and then all of a sudden Tyreek Hill gets 14 targets again. So I don't know. It's like, as Tyreek 100% back, it looks like it. He looks healthy. Does that come at the expense of Jonnu Smith? I don't know. So that's my issues, where I don't necessarily know who's getting the target share. Then it's like, all right, does their price make sense for the uncertainty? For Jonnu Smith, I'd say if you wanted to play him this week, it's fine, because even if he does get 5 or 6 targets, his price is cheap. For Tyreek Hill, it's like, okay, we need that 10-plus target game out of him at 7,400, or we're praying for a touchdown, or a long touchdown, obviously. But yeah, that's kind of my issue with Stroud. I know it's going to Nico Collins. I'm okay with Tank Dell, and I fucking love Dalton Schultz this week at 3,300 on DraftKings.
Okay, well, we'll get that in the tight end section. So the quarterbacks that I'm on that you didn't mention, I've got Josh Allen ranked number 1. I've got Joe Burrow ranked at number 2. Dude's just been on fire. Looks incredible. Gets to take on the Titans. Titans are not a good defense at all. Still dealing with some injuries in the secondary back there. He's throwing for 3 touchdowns every single game. Jamar Chase just goes off, but usually just goes off on Thursday nights if no one's noticed that yet. Doesn't matter, though. I mean, the Bengals, they're not going to make the playoffs, but there is a mathematical chance that they do. So there's no reason for them to just go out and keep the pedal to the floor the entire time going up against Tennessee. So I think Burrow stacking with Chase, stacking him with Higgins, who's significantly cheaper than Chase, or even Chase Brown in a Burrow stack, is a good way to go. He's probably price considered my favorite quarterback on the slate. I have the highest percentage of Joe Burrow, and I'm going to ride with that. On the other side of the Bills game, Jared Goff. I'm in on Jared Goff here too. Bills, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, they can make him throw it. I mean, we've seen a 5 touchdown game out of Jared Goff, highest total on the slate. Everyone's running to Josh Allen, and I get it. He can do it with his legs. He's probably going to put up more fantasy points, but does not have to. If the game script goes in the Lions' direction for them to have to run the ball, it kills Josh Allen, and then it boosts up Jared Goff. Jared Goff is too cheap right now, and you don't really have to worry about who you're going to pair him with. You're going to pair him with Amon-Ra St. Brown. You're going to pair him with Williams. Laporte is fine in game stacks. Either of the running backs can catch the ball, and he spreads it around so much. So St. Brown number 1, Williams number 2. I'm not on Tim Patrick this week, but I'm going to make one of the FanDuel Millie Maker lineups with Jared Goff. So that's the number 1 game stack, obviously Bills and Lions. But my second favorite game stack, and I want to get your opinion on this too. I mentioned Joe Burrow, but that's my second favorite game environment, is the Titans at the Bengals. So do I think you need to go down to Will Levis? Probably not. But if you look at the way that lineups have been constructed that have been winning this year, it's seldom ever the highest priced quarterback or one of these higher priced quarterbacks, aside from last week with Josh Allen. The quarterback play has been bad. So finding a cheaper guy that can potentially get you enough fantasy points, given like an Allen bust or a Lamar Jackson busts, Mahomes busts. The weather's got a little bit better there, actually. So he's actually a little bit intriguing. But as I wrote up the article on windailysports.com, promo code SICKO, 50% off if you want to get in and read the whole thing. There's a lot there this week. I made a case for every single Titans skill player. Like the receivers, I was like, that looks good. 1, 2, and 3. Check the box, check the box, check the box. Tight end, that looks good. I love the matchup going up against the Bengals. I was going to be more in on Spears, but Spears isn't, going to be starting now. You've got Tony Pollard expected to play, but I can make a case for the Titans offense. So if I'm taking a punt, the cheapest I'll go, and he's like the cheapest quarterback on the board anyways, is Will Levis. I think he's interesting. When people were on him last week, not me, I'm jumping on this week, but not at the, if that's just, if I have to do it, right? I'd rather play Goff, rather play Burrow, rather play Allen, but if I have to choose a cheap guy, it's going to be Will Levis. What do you think about that game?
Love Joe Burrow. I'm not going to play Will Levis. I think I'd find just a way to get to Justin
Ridley
Herbert for me personally.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, love Ridley. He's in my main lineup currently, which I'm excited to talk to you about wide receivers here in a little bit. Joe Burrow is the guy. It breaks my heart to fade. It just everything I built with him, it didn't fit. So I think that is the 80 miles second projected like back and forth game. So I guess theoretically that makes sense for Will Levis, but Joe Burrow, they have the highest pass rate over expectation on the slate by a wide margin. That is what they're doing. They're dropping back to pass. You see guys like Chase Brown too with like a 4.5 catch prop with juice on the over. They are spreading the ball out in like he's Joe Burrow, regardless of the pace that the Titans play at, is going to throw the ball 35 plus times. And he's got a healthy wide receiving core in the like you said, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase.
Cool. Any other quarterbacks we need to touch on here?
Is Aaron Rodgers going to go apeshit again, or do the Jags just suck and this game's slow?
I don't think I have to get to Rodgers this week, but I did write up his wide receivers. Like I get it, but what's he priced at?
He's like 56. I liked him last week because I figured they'd be chasing points. That game had a great pace, and both teams kind of stalled out in the red zone a little bit. Like Rodgers probably should have had 3 or 4 touchdowns, in my opinion, for how often they got into the red zone. 54 actually. But dude, I don't. I'm good. I think I'm good. I'd rather play him at that price when the other team's pushing him.
He's 54. Levis is 5. What about the New Orleans QB? Are you going to take a shot on him, or there's just like the reason I'm not is because I just don't know who to stack this dude with.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it'd be MVS or Jawan Johnson. So yeah, no, I'm good there. Drake May, any love for Drake May? I feel like he's just a walking 20 points, and that's probably his ceiling, and his floor is like 15. So for cash consideration, I guess it makes sense. But we just haven't really seen him combine the rushing with the legs to get us like a 25 plus fantasy point outing. But it's Arizona. Their offense has to click eventually. I think it's today. But yeah, I did like Drake May going into the week, but then I kind of seen every single game. There's just no ceiling for him.
Your mic might be a little shaky or something right now. You check that?
Okay. Yep.
See if it's plugged in all the way. Yeah, I'm probably not getting to May. I'm not playing more than like 4 or 5 quarterbacks, and he's just not going to be one of them. I have a little bit of interest in Ramondre Stevenson in the same matchup that Zach Charbonnet shredded last week, but he's like, I don't know, like 8th on my running back list. We should get over to running backs. Let me check the YouTube chat here, see if we've got any questions. Adam Thielen rocking the Randy Moss jersey pregame. You going to be in on Thielen? Just quick yes or no?
Yes, he is in my cash game lineup. I'm playing him and Chuba together. I fear I don't want to get that much exposure to the Panthers offense out of nowhere. And also, if you guys got questions too, season long, it is the first week of playoffs. Let's get after it.
Make my neighborhood fantasy playoffs, man. I'm a little disappointed in myself. Everyone's making fun of me over here. I don't know how that happens. My team was awesome.
Yeah, don't you do this for a living? You didn't even fucking like that. I get
that's
that.
What they say. Yeah, that's what they say.
My work league one too, and I had the 1-1. I hate the 1-1, and I didn't take McCaffrey. I took Bijan, and I still didn't make it. Yeah.
What's the punishment for my league? It's a punishment for missing the Win Daily League, David. Yeah, that I didn't join the Win Daily League. I was busy. I had another draft. Y'all like sprung it on me the day I was doing another draft. Let's get into running. Yeah. What?
We always plan the draft like 1 hour before we actually do it. It's tough to get everybody together.
Could not do it. Let's get into running backs here. Who are you going to land on over on DraftKings?
Starting at the top, I think someone that I'm actively trying to get. I really like Joe Mixon here. I like that Houston-Miami game. It's expensive, but that is a dude that just doesn't leave the football field. He also, you could pencil him in for 3-4 catches. This game should have a lot of pace. Miami's got a very respectable total. So does Houston. I do like him. Not really trying to – I'm not doing the Derrick Henry thing. He's going to play on Thursday. It's like 3 games in 12 days or whatever it is. I'm good on that.
Okay.
But I do like he's like minus 450 to score a touchdown. So like on FanDuel, if you're just looking for 15, 20 points, like I'm sure that's there. I just don't know if this is a ceiling type of game for anybody on this Baltimore offense. Maybe we start to see a little bit of Keaton Mitchell today. I'm very interested to see if he's a healthy scratch. I feel like they want to get other guys reps today. Love Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. I think that is kind of my mindset. Both of these guys are going to be 5% owned today or less. I am trying everything I possibly can. I know you're on golf in the passing game. I'm trying everything that I can do to get one of these guys in my main lineup. Right now, it's David Montgomery. due to the makeup of my wide receiver builds, which I'll talk to you about here soon. But love that spot. Chase Brown, I'm just going to use in cash. His ownership's through the roof. Titans' run defense is a lot healthier than it was last week, so I'm not like super in love with that. I'd rather go Burrow in the pass catchers, but like we said, Chase Brown, 4+ catches. That's what he does, running a ton of routes. I'm cool with it for cash at 7,200. James Conner, yeah, I mean, he gets it done every single week. I think Chuba Hubbard is going to be the highest owned running back. I think that's with good reason. Like Raheem Blackshear's out too. I don't think that Chuba leaves the field unless he needs a breather. So as much as I hate playing chalk running backs, this is a great spot against Dallas. They continuously leave massive gaps. So like their yards before contact is terrible. Like they're not even getting guys in the backfield. Like Chuba should have a positive gain damn near every single time he touches it. Love Brian Robinson.
Yep.
Was interested in Pacheco, especially with the weather, but it looks like it's clearing up a little bit. Rico Dowdle, I don't know. Rico Dowdle leaves a lot to be desired for me. If he's like 25% owned, I think I'd rather go to Brian Robinson, or I would rather just avoid that situation and play Chuba and one of these Detroit guys.
Yeah, I was getting questions about B-Rob and Rico Dowdle this morning. I mean, look, Dowdle's been pretty decent for, the starting running back for Dallas. I mean, he can get targeted in the pass game a little bit. He's going to touch it, 18 to 22 times if you split the difference, whatever, between last week, averaging 13 fantasy points per game, going up against Carolina, who's been traditional. Like this season, they've been bad against the run, but the past 2 weeks, haven't been that bad against the run. I don't think they can just, all of a sudden be like this elite run stopping team, but they haven't been just getting shredded like they were the first 12 games of the season. Still Rico Dowdle, 6,100. I don't mind it. I agree with what you said about Chuba Hubbard. Dallas allowing 25.8 DraftKings points per game to the running back, allowed 16 combined touchdowns to the position, passing and receiving, ranked 26th in DVOA, and total defense 29th against the running back. Young, playing better, but everyone needs to just chill out for a minute about anointing this guy as like the future starter of the Carolina Panthers. I don't know if you have a different take on that. The dude's like throwing for one passing touchdown a game, and everyone thinks he's like all of a sudden awesome. They're still like losing. So I don't know. It's weird that they're favored in this game, but I mean, come on, let's just pump the brakes on my former Alabama quarterback there, Bryce Young. We're going to need to see a lot more from him, but he can move it down the field a little bit the past 2 games anyway. So maybe they can get Chuba in scoring positions. He's going to touch the ball a lot, probably get the most touches for any running back on the slate. And I would say that's favored, most touches any running back on the slate.
Yes, probably.
Yeah, so the price makes sense over on DraftKings a little bit more than FanDuel. So I wrote him up as my number 1 RB, Brian Robinson Jr. I have behind him no Austin Eckler, no Noah Brown. The ball is going to be going through Terry McLaurin and Brian Robinson Jr. He's only 6,200 on DraftKings. That is pretty good. The Saints, pretty bad against the run, pretty bad against the pass. Ranked 31st in DVOA against the run while allowing 15 rushing touchdowns. That's one less than Dallas. 2 running backs, 15 rushing and receiving combined touchdowns. Brian Robinson Jr. should score in Jaden Daniels' return to New Orleans, or I guess LSU's in Baton Rouge, so that's not New Orleans, but that's close enough. If you don't live down there, you wouldn't know.
I'll allow it.
I'm going to New Orleans for Super Bowl. Do you know that?
No, I did not. That's all. I love New Orleans. It's an interesting place, to say the least. If you got a fun crew and you're into degeneracy, like I'm sure both of us are, then it's a really good time.
You should have heard my New Orleans rants at my old company about the 101 terrible things that I've seen while I've been in New Orleans. I've probably been there 25, 30 times. Yeah, it is.
I've been there once. I've been there once. I've seen some shit too.
You've only been one time?
Only been one time, and I did see some shit, and I watched one of my buddies, like you've been to the casino, right? It's like right in the heart of town.
Yeah.
Dude, leaving that casino is a war zone. There are so many fake Uber drivers that are just picking off drunk people. God. And that happened to one of my buddies. He started getting in the car. I was like, dude, you check the plates? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. He's like, yeah, Uber. He's like, he didn't even say his name and everything. And yeah, they were trying to rob him. So it's wild times. You got to keep your head on a swivel out there.
Dude, it is. Yeah, I've seen I don't want to get into it, but I've seen some unlivings down there. It's been pretty wild.
While we're at it, any thoughts on value running backs? Anybody under 6K?
I've got more running backs to touch on. Let's see if there's anyone under 6K. I mean, it was going to be Spears. That's out the window, I think. Zach Charbonnet is still cheap on FanDuel. You can go ahead and lock him in. I don't have any like super value guys. I mean, I really don't. I looked into it, but like that means you're fading Barkley, Henry, Mixon, Achane, Gibbs, Brown, Montgomery, Dowdle, Connor. Yeah, I mean, there's just like there. I don't think you need to do that this week. You can save the money at wide receiver and tight end.
I'm with you. Yeah, and that looks like all like the questionable guys that you had written as conditionals. Like I think Bucky's going to try to play. It sounds like
Right.
So that kind of kills the love for. Rachaad White, Tyrone Tracy, we're probably not picking on Baltimore's run D. No love for like Gus Edwards, right? I feel like you're just praying for a touchdown, and that's what you may likely get. Tank Bigsby?
I don't want to do it.
Fair. I think there's too much value in the wide receiver position to fuck around at running back, right? It's basically what we're saying here.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, look, there's more running backs kind of listed in my article here, but my big guys are going to be Hubbard, Brian Robinson Jr., Zach Charbonnet over on FanDuel. And like the other guys, like I think you made a good case to fade Derrick Henry. I was pretty high on Derrick Henry, but I think you made a good case with the short week for them. Joe Mixon, you made a good case for. I think Achane can get going pretty significantly here in their matchup against Houston.
Yeah, he's just a walking 20 points. His floor is amazing. I think
okay.
Ron Armstead's out again, right? Like his yards per carry has been terrible without Armstead. So, but again, you're playing Achane basically because he's a wide receiver who gets goal line carries now too. Yeah, Teron Armstead doubtful again.
I'm trying to register for contests. Sorry,
you're good.
I like the 250 millionaire maker over on FanDuel today. If y'all haven't done that, if you haven't taken a look, see. You playing on FanDuel?
I'm not. I have one lineup there. It's got CJ Stroud because it's so affordable. But dude, the app for some reason keeps saying that I'm not in Illinois, and I'm clearly in Illinois, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, mine can never find me. Like the location services are always.
But then on FanDuel Sportsbook, good to go. I don't understand. So it pisses me off. At some point, I have to be like, you know what, your product is not ready for me. So I'm getting angry.
Yeah, my phone's screwing up right now. All right, let's move on to wide receiver. Or I'm like, just like I keep depositing the same amount on FanDuel and don't know. That wouldn't be awesome. Move on to wide receiver. But first, let's take a look. Is there anything popping that we need to know? Fade Derrick Henry until we know he didn't lose his powers with his dreads. Haircut, questionable. Derrick Henry still awesome. He's going to look
quick. He got today. A haircut?
Yeah. He got rid of the dreads.
Wow. Why?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's probably uncomfortable. I mean, but, you know, maybe just ride it out.
I can't imagine that does feel good in a helmet, but I don't know. Yeah.
Brian saying chill on the New Orleans slander. Best food in the country, New Orleans. I'll say that. Anyways,
I enjoyed everything I had there. I feel like it wasn't slander. I just think like if you're going there, like you gotta have your head on a swivel. You're gonna have a good time. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna see some shit that you didn't think you'd see. That's for sure. I can go on a New Orleans slander rant for sure. But
yeah, maybe the first week of the off season we go David Jones After Dark, the New Orleans story.
I've done that before. Ooh, I've got good ones. I really do. Like you'd be like you wouldn't believe it. It's not the time or the place though. Wide receivers. Let's get into them. I'm going to start with you while I try and figure out why my FanDuel's not working. So where are you going? Just give me like your top tier guys, and we'll kind of go back and forth on some of these.
No doubt. Yeah. Overall, though, I don't think there's ever been a week where every single player over 7,000 on DraftKings I'm interested in. So that's been tough for me. I think if there's people that I had to weed out, like Amon-Ra didn't really make it for me. Tyreek Hill, like I mentioned, the target share stuff. I love CeeDee Lamb. I think everybody playing Rico Dowdle and Ferguson just opens up the world for CeeDee Lamb. JC Horn's dealing with a groin injury. CeeDee moves all over the formation, and he's going to get 10 plus targets in this game as long as, the Panthers are competent on offense. Again, like AJ Brown, I can't ever say anything bad about him. 2%, whatever. If you're crazy like Brian, who we're talking right now about New Orleans, he's always crazy in GPPs. Getting a 2% AJ Brown makes a lot of sense. Joey Porter cannot cover him. Love Nico Collins. Jamar Chase is probably the best play on the slate. But my priorities right now in GPPs are CeeDee Lamb and Terry McLaurin. I absolutely love Terry McLaurin. I love that you wrote about him. They are, over a touchdown favorite, but Terry McLaurin is the only guy that Jaden Daniels looks for the most part, outside of Noah Brown, who is out, as you mentioned in your article. I just think Terry McLaurin's a staple for 5 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown. And at 0% ownership, it looks like that is someone I'm very, very interested in. There is no one on the Saints, even if they double team him, that can hang with Terry McLaurin today.
Yeah, I mean, I was seeing 3% or less yesterday, but it was weird because when you look at the Saints season numbers against wide receiver ones, they're like one of the best teams in the league, but that's a season look, right? You've got to look at what they've been doing recently. And honestly, I've tried targeting them recently because of this fact, and it hasn't worked out. So I'm looking at what's been going on with my lineups because I've been targeting the New Orleans pass game. Hasn't been working, but you can, chalk that up to maybe poor quarterback player, just didn't happen that week, whatever. But you've got the wide receiver 2 out for Washington. And like you said, they don't really they'll throw it to Ertz a little bit. They'll throw it to B-Rob. Terry McLaurin's going to get targeted a lot. No one's going to be able to cover this dude on the outside specifically. When you look at the Saints overall, they recently allow the highest number of yards per route covered of any team in the NFL. So that's good. When you look at the total combined corners for the New Orleans Saints, as a whole, they're the worst team at allowing yards per route covered. It's a good thing. New Orleans are bottom 5 in yards per reception and yards per route covered in man, which is what Terry McLaurin should be seeing a lot of, right? I mean, yes. New Orleans runs a ton of man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good luck covering Terry.
Yeah. So good luck with that. I agree. Terry McLaurin's a great GPP play. You said you weren't on Amon-Ra?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a horde of player props too, and the 80 mile didn't have him super, super high. I respect Teron Johnson, but my game, again, I can't play everybody, so I'm telling myself that Detroit runs the living shit out of the football. I hope that's the case because I'm on right. Yeah, it's a great game environment, a high total, and a decent price for him, but I'm just sick of playing him and he keeps getting 15 points. Is this a blow-up game for him? I don't know. I don't want to miss it, but I fear I will. And again, it's like I would rather have CeeDee Lamb than Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't think anybody's going to play CeeDee Lamb today.
God damn it. I'd probably rather take Amon-Ra than Lamb. I've been fading Lamb.
I can't argue that. I cannot argue that at all, though.
It's been working out pretty good fading him, but I mean, yeah, St. Brown has not been great the past few weeks, but we still know he's a great wide receiver, and we know how Dan Campbell runs this offense is that he spreads it around. He gets dudes that weren't involved the week before involved this week. He's going to get most of the slots route against the Bills, worst corner in terms of yards per route covered. That's a good thing for him. He leads Detroit in target percentage, averaging 18.1 DraftKings points per game, and that's with 3 duds, I want to say, in a row. Maybe it was just 2. I don't remember off the top of my head. He hasn't scored a touchdown in 3 games. That should probably change in a game with a 54.5 total on it. And I do think that there's just as heavy of a chance as Detroit trailing in this one as the Bills trailing in this one. Either way, it should go back and forth. Also, the Bills are ranked poorly against opposing wide receiver ones, ranked 27th in the league. Now, if you want to talk about Jameson Williams and Tim Patrick in there, because you probably want a piece of Detroit, Williams leads the team in air yards and yards per route run, and the Bills are worse against the wide receiver 2 than they are the wide receiver 3, which is technically Jameson Williams. However, they're both in good spots, so I'm going to be on both those dudes. And St. Brown, I'll take over CeeDee Lamb. Trust the quarterback more. I know Lamb's going to get targeted. I know Carolina sucks, but just, I don't know. Give me Amon-Ra over.
My one reason I think that the 80 mile didn't pump him up higher is the Buffalo Bills do not blitz at all. And I love Amon-Ra against zone blitz, but it's still Amon-Ra.
Yeah, that's a good point there too. I'm still working on this. Sorry. I know it's terrible.
You're good. Content. Any thoughts on Mike Evans?
Yeah, I think if there's a team that can potentially, double him up and slow him down a little bit, then it's the Chargers. Not stop him, maybe slow him down a little bit. So I'm going to bail on Evans this week, and I hope it doesn't come back and bite me. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I feel like my lineup that I'm building that has CeeDee Lamb in it, it calls for either Terry McLaurin or Mike Evans. At that, I feel like it's just an easy choice for me to just take McLaurin. Chargers defense is pretty healthy too. Joey Bosa's back. Denzel Perryman, I think, is supposed to play too, which is nice. So yeah, I don't know. I think that game can go back and forth, but something about Mike Evans, he's just fucking slow. So it's I don't know.
I mean, you
He
had
if he doesn't get 12 targets, like I don't think he gets there unless it's those, if they play man coverage on him just one-on-one and he gets those ed zone little corner fades in, sure. But Terry McLaurin, I feel like, has like absolute 70-yard touchdown any time of the game type of potential here. You like the guys on the Jets. We talked about T. Higgins a little bit. Any love for Cortland Sutton?
Yeah, so I like Sutton just because, he's going to pretty much get it done every game, it appears. But I also like Devon Vele in that game. So I wrote, if you can't get to Sutton, you can go to Vele. I mean, you've got the Colts running a lot of the zone coverage. Vele's the guy who's going to typically benefit in that more so the second half of the season for the Broncos. He leads the Broncos in target percentage and yards per route covered in zone. So if you can't afford Sutton, then I'm fine with going to Vele. But yes, I do like Cortland Sutton.
Right on. All right. Here's all the value guys that everybody's playing. So that's kind of my mindset again, too, is play two of these higher price guys because there's no ownership there. But yeah, T. Higgins going to draw a ton of ownership. Garrett Wilson, pretty low owned. You like all the Jets guys. I will not talk anybody off of that. That it is a really good matchup. Jerry Jeudy, kind of the only like upside game in town. Elijah Moore can get there with, death by 1,000 paper cuts. Watch the weather a little bit there. It does look like it's clearing up, like DJ said earlier. Khalil Shakir, I like a ton.
Yeah.
Meek Robinson, I think like he can have a field day there. And Khalil Shakir gets 8+ targets a game when the total's high and it's going back and forth. We'll talk about Amari Cooper in a little bit. Calvin Ridley, I think, everybody's going to like him, but that's a really good spot. That game should go back and forth. You love Joe Burrow. We love the Bengals to score. Calvin Ridley's got to get a lot done on the other side. Brian Thomas Jr., I have absolutely no interest in. I know he's like 20% owned. That's a main reason why I don't want him. I just don't like Mac Jones. I'm good there. Jalen Waddle, I think's fine. Marvin Harrison Jr. at 5,500. I think it's the cheapest we've ever seen him. The Patriots do play a lot of man coverage. I call him Marvin, man coverage Marv. Do you like Marvin Harrison Jr. at that price, or is it just, I don't know. Like I can't stop playing him, and it's not working that all. The only time it worked for me was the double at Miami.
He's not one of my top guys. I mean, yeah, I doubt that I play him. I mean, you mentioned some guys that I'm interested in here too. Like Shakir, I agree. He's in the best spot for sure for the Buffalo receivers, but it's also not a bad spot for the outside guys who are going to run the outside more like Cooper and Coleman. I think Coleman's actually pretty sneaky, but Shakir's going to get most of those slot snaps. You've got the Lions. They allow the fourth most fantasy points to wide receivers. Sure. Slot's their weakest position to cover. Sure. Allowing 1.31 yards per route covered against them. And Shakir leads the Bills in yards per route run and target share 25.4% on the season. However, that was before Amari Cooper got there. But you've got Shakir priced up as the highest wide receiver for the Bills because he's in the best spot. But Cooper and Coleman are both like way too cheap. They're going to draw a ton of ownership. I do like the Jets wide receivers, but I doubt I get to a ton of them if we're just being transparent here. My favorite one would probably be Alan Lazard. Like I'll go back and do that charade again. I like it because he runs on the right most of his routes, and that's where the Jaguars have been most vulnerable, and he's the cheapest guy. And Aaron Rodgers will throw it to the dude. It didn't appear to be the case last week when he only got one target, but I went back and looked at his snap share. It was 78% of snaps. Like, that's high. And so that's a week coming back from injury. He probably is out there, I mean, hell, just as much as Wilson and Adams. I mean, so, and is Conklin going to play?
I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
I think him and Breece Hall are good to go.
We've got Njoku just got ruled out. We'll talk about that when we get to tight ends. Other wide receivers that I'm interested in here. We talked about St. Brown. We talked about McLaurin. I want to talk about the Tennessee guys a little bit more in depth. I really like Tennessee this week. The Bengals defense is so trash. I know the Titans offense is trash too, but they've got it together a little bit the past, 6 weeks or so. Nikhil Westbrook
is out. Sorry.
Oh, he is? Okay, that's even better for those pass catchers there. So yeah, you've got the Bengals 30th in DVOA in pass defense. just get smoked by everybody. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. So you've got NWI coming off the broken touchdown streak, but he was targeted in the end zone last week, just didn't come down with it. It was a bad pass. I think he gets in there again this week, and he is still cheap. But if you're going for the upside guy, it's going to be Calvin Ridley. Should draw the highest amount of targets. He'll see a lot of Cam Taylor-Britt more than anyone else. That's been the Bengals' worst cover corner when you're just looking at yards per route covered and most air yards and highest targeted corner on the defense. So Calvin Ridley should have a good game. NWI should score. And you've got Tyler Boyd, who's going to be running out of the slot for the most of the time. The Bengals are the worst team on the slate against the wide receiver 3 and also not good in the slot. Worst team on the slate against a wide receiver 3, 29th overall. And I don't know, revenge factor for Tyler Boyd, whatever. I think he can get in the end zone. It's not going to come with yards, though. So I can make a case for all those wide receivers. I'm going to make a case for Chigo Kongwu. So Levis is, if the top guys bust, I think Levis is the best spin down quarterback. Aside from these Tennessee Titans, Zay Flowers going up against the Giants. Like, everyone's scared of the blowout there, but last time the Ravens blew somebody out, I think Zay Flowers was the highest scoring wide receiver on the slate, dropped 32 DK points, put up 127 yards and 2 touchdowns. That was against the Broncos. He's only $6,000 against the Giants. Like, if we think Derrick Henry is going to be, we don't think, it's an educated guess that he's not going to get full run because they should smoke the Giants, who apparently had a terrible practice this week. Did you read about that? When they didn't, they went 0-14 trying to convert, and like 6 of those plays were without a defense.
Oh, yikes. All right.
Did you read that? Was that satire that I read? Like, I think they pulled the defense like to try and score a touchdown. They couldn't score. Like,
they don't even have a defense this week. Nunez Rocha's out. Bobby Corke's out. Oh, dude, Deontay Banks sucks. I think he's gonna have to start again this week. It's gonna be interesting. It's bad. Yeah, I think that Zay Flowers is someone I fear I will not have any of. Maybe I go there in the prop market then. I don't know.
Big play Zay. What's Win Daily Sports account saying? Conklin, Stover, Njoku, Disley, Ingram out. Backup tight end season. Yeah, it is backup tight end season. I like Nico Collins. Obviously, I don't have to get into that. You can play him in your Miami game stacks, but he's great. Play Nico Collins if you can fit him. There's more guys on this list, but I feel like we're going to run out of time, and I don't want to give it all away, quite honestly. Let me see if there's any guys I should ask you about. What do you think about Michael Wilson for the Arizona Cardinals as one of my deep punt guys?
I think he gets in the box today. Also a guy that kills man coverage. Him or Marv is scoring today. I mean, maybe we even see Trey McBride finally score a damn touchdown. But yes, I do like Michael Wilson a ton against man coverage.
Does he still have both those guys? He didn't have a receiving touchdown yet?
Trey McBride does not know.
Oh, God.
Dude, they suck. They stall out in the red zone all the time. It's terrible. The red zone offense sucks. I don't get it. Like, they're better off on the 25-yard line instead of inside the 20. It's nuts. I don't understand why, but they got to figure that out. I think they figured that out today. Also, one player prop that the 80 Mile liked a ton is Josh Palmer over 3.5 catches. I believe it's plus 139 on Caesars. So we gave out the MVS prop, the Hammer Kid, last week. It's not a hammer play, but Josh Palmer, I think, is very, very sneaky today as well.
Is Ladd McConkey going to sit out, you think?
No, he's going to play, I think, but still, I like Josh Palmer on the outside a ton.
What quarter does he head to the locker room, Ladd McConkey?
Second.
Yeah.
Guy gets straight, he gets banged up. He's so damn small. Like, it makes sense that he's always banged up. He's getting his ass just like he's going in the middle of the field taking hits by safeties and linebackers. It makes sense, but yeah, I don't know. Player props are through the roof for him, so Vegas thinks he's got a full workload, but I think the Josh Palmer prop being plus 139 is insane, but you also have the variance of Ladd McConkey potentially leaving, making that expected value through the roof on Josh Palmer. But I think he gets there with or without Ladd.
Does Diami Brown exceed his $3,100 salary on DraftKings?
I was very interested in you writing him up because I've been a Diami Brown truther for a long time. I don't understand why he doesn't run more routes. Watch it be like Luke McCaffrey or some shit, though. But no, I do like someone's getting beat deep for New Orleans. Diami Brown certainly has the speed to do it and actually runs those longer routes where Luke McCaffrey kind of just goes in the middle of the field. And I think Jamison Crowder's back. I don't think they're going to play. I don't think they're going to play Jamison over Luke at this point, but Diami Brown, I was like, holy shit, DJ's getting weird, and I love it. I believe in Diami Brown, just like I believe in Trey Tucker. These guys are going to have good careers at some point.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to exceed 3,100 on DraftKings. Like, if you're looking for a fire emoji, that's a dude.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. All right. There's more wide receivers, but let's you're gonna have to go over to windailysports.com. Nick, did we confirm your playbook is up? There was a technical difficulty with that this morning.
Should be up. Let me confirm. Start us off with tight ends. I'll confirm that in a second.
All right. So tight end.
It is up. It is up. It is good.
It's up. Cool. Best spend up I have is Trey McBride, but I don't think I'm going to land on him a lot, quite frankly, because I'll be spending down at the tight end position. I have the best value is Brenton Strange. He'll be popular, but I don't know, like $2,500 for a starting tight end, like sounds pretty good to me. Like, he doesn't have to do hardly anything. You just don't need Trey McBride to go out there and score 28, and you should be fine with Brenton Strange. But there's other value pivots that I like. I know you don't like the chalky tight ends, I'm sure. Are you going to play Brenton Strange, or are you just going to,
no? So I'm playing 3 tight ends at the moment. I fear I won't have enough Jake Ferguson because I'm playing CeeDee Lamb. I'll take Stone Smart, whatever. I do think he's a really talented player should be able to kind of show off his mobility and athleticism here. Hunter Henry, I think, is a good floor play. Probably not there in tournaments like we talked about with Drake May. It just seems like we never get ceiling games out of these guys, or their ceiling is low. Not paying up for Trey McBride. So Stone Smart.
Yep.
I love Dalton Schultz at 3,300. I think that's a clear misprice. This is a very good matchup on the inside of Miami for him. His red zone route participation's through the roof. Like this should be a spot where he gets like 5 or 6 catches. They'll finally be pushed in pace with Miami, likely able to score a lot. And then I think that's it, really, are those 3. I'm playing Schultz, Hunter Henry, and Stone Smart.
So
I'm out on Brenton Strange. No, I mean, I like him too. His big body can move pretty well.
He's good.
Yeah, I don't like Mac Jones.
No.
That's what it is. It's the Mac Jones factor.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'll give you a weird guy. Chigo Kongwu gets in the box today. So been targeting the Bengals with
bet Josh Wiley then too to score a touchdown.
What's that?
Bet Josh Wiley to score a touchdown too then.
Okay.
It's got to be like 10-1.
Yeah, that's got to be pretty good. Well, Bengals, they allow 4th most fantasy points to the position. That's when I wrote up Pat Freiermuth a couple weeks ago, went off. You go back and look at who's been doing it to him. It's typically a bunch of mid guys. So they have played Travis Kelce, but he only got 1 reception against the Bills at the beginning of the season, whatever was going on with him. They played Brock Bowers, but he scored and got like 80 yards or something, but it wasn't just an absolute blow-up game. These mid tight ends are doing it against the Bengals. If I have to choose one low-owned GPP tight end, that's a pivot from your Stone Smarts, who I would, if I'm playing one lineup, I'd play Stone Smart over Chigo Kongwu. Brenton Strange, I'd probably play him over Chigo Kongwu in one lineup, but if I'm making a lot of lineups, I'm going to play Chig Okongwu for the first time in 2024, year of our Lord. Jonnu Smith is capable. Sam Laporta, use him in stacks, whatever. Jake Ferguson, I'm on. Did you say you're on Ferguson, or you said you're on someone else? Houston.
Schultz. I fear I will not have any Jake Ferguson because I'm planting my flag in CeeDee Lamb today. But yeah, I like Ferguson. The prop market loves Ferguson. Carolina sucks at stopping the tight end, especially in the red zone. Also, Josh Wiley to score is 16-1 on FanDuel. Fuck it, I've made worse bets.
There you go. Planting your flag in Ohio will be a felony soon if the Ohio State University, however they like to say it, gets their way. Did you hear about that?
No, but it makes sense. Like, stop doing it's an automatic fight every time. Just don't do it.
Oh yeah, okay. Jake Ferguson, good matchup for him. Just need the QB play to be there. If you're fading Lamb, I don't hate it. I think Jake Ferguson's a good play. He's cheap. What's he like, 3,100?
Ferguson is 38, I believe.
38 going up against Carolina?
Correct.
I mean, he'll get there one of these days. Mark Andrews, Juwan Johnson, not a bad play at all. I kind of like Juwan Johnson more than Mark Andrews. Tyler Conklin, best DVOA tight end spot in the NFL, but he's out, right?
Oh, yeah, it'd be Jeremy Ruckert, I guess, if you wanted to.
How much is he?
25 stone minimum.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers ain't gonna throw it to him though. Probably. Aaron Rodgers off the Jets next year.
Jeremy Ruckert did have like a 15-yard A-dot play last week, and he just straight up dropped it. So yeah, maybe he's out of Rodgers' circle of trust.
He is for sure. Cool. I wrote up my favorite game stacks too. Buffalo, Detroit, Miami, Houston, Bengals, Tennessee. Those are my favorite game stacks. Favorite other teams that aren't mentioned above, Washington. I wrote up Miami twice. I like Washington. You can just stack like Brian Robinson Jr., Terry McLaurin together. Hey, let's go through a recap here. Favorite QB, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and then we can talk about defense. Anything pressing in these comments? Oh, Conklin's out because he had a baby. Good for him.
Yeah, right on.
I don't know. I can't read any of this shit. Who's your favorite QB today?
Price considered, I am going to go with Justin Herbert. I think this is a game I'd fear. Like the only way Tampa Bay's defense is so bad. Everybody played Aiden O'Connell last week. That was
he got hurt.
I mean, he still sucks, but like same matchup that everybody fucking loved last week. Now with a competent quarterback in a dome where there's a lot of weather issues throughout this slate, I want Justin Herbert.
Even with Ladd McConkey going out in the second quarter with re-aggravated injury?
Yeah, that's Josh Palmer, man.
Yeah, okay. So you play Herbert and fade Ladd is what you're saying?
I am playing Herbert and not playing Ladd, correct. I'm stacking him with Stone Smart just to be transparent. So I'm just using the value stack because I want to get Terry McLaurin and CeeDee Lamb in my lineup.
Who's your favorite spend up? Josh Allen?
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense. My favorite quarterback overall on the slate is Joe Burrow. Burrow. So get you some Joey B.
Dude, there's
I think Fame's getting to that dude.
To Burrow?
Yeah.
I mean, he's balling out.
Yeah, but why he dresses like a imbecile, and like he's got the worst sunglass game I've ever seen in my life.
Did he buy the Batmobile? Was that him that did that too?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Though. I would do that too, but it's not street legal, so I don't know.
But yeah, 2% Joe Burrow. That's wild. Yeah, I love that. I'm surprised that's not where I'm going, but
2%, huh? Behind him, I like Goff.
So my latest refresh did here. Yeah.
Best running back on the slate for you, 1 or 2, whatever you want to do.
Oh, God. One of the Detroit Lions. Can I give that as my answer?
Yeah.
One of the Detroit Lions, yeah.
Would you play them both? Same lineup?
Probably not. Just because it's so damn expensive. If Montgomery was like 6,200 and Gibbs was 68.7 in that range, I would try. But otherwise, like Chuba Hubbard, like you said, 20 touches is damn near a lock. So he's the best points per dollar play.
Yeah, I'll go with Brian Robinson Jr. Just to be a little bit different from what you just said. Look, he's going to touch the ball a lot. If he doesn't get injured, he's getting in the end zone. New Orleans can't stop the run. I mean, plain and simple. Probably potentially good game script for him too.
Yes.
All right. Wide receiver. Give me a spend up, a mid-range. Let's do a spend up, a mid-range. Spend up, favorite overall or mid-range, and then just like a cheap dude nobody's on.
Spend up, CeeDee Lamb.
Yep.
Medium guy, so cheap. I still think that this is a great spot for Amari Cooper. I hope Keon Coleman doesn't go back to like the X routes, because against the man blitz for Detroit, Amari Cooper should have a field day. And then a guy no one's playing, Josh Palmer.
JP.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll take my favorite spend up. It's pretty tough to not say Jamar Chase. I don't know if Terry McLaurin counts. That'll be 2 Washington dudes for me. I had a question this morning: Chase St. Brown or Terry McLaurin, something like that.
You're always playing Chase.
Yeah. He's expensive though.
Oh, I thought it was a seasonal question.
Oh, yeah. That's the right answer. I took it as a DFS question, so hopefully I didn't screw that guy. Give me, give me McLaurin. Yes. I mean, give me McLaurin. Obviously, you're not gonna like leave the salary on and not play Chase. I think that's just like obvious. Favorite mid-range guys. I'll give you a couple here. I like the Tennessee dudes, Ridley and NWI. Like them a lot. And I'm also gonna say Zay Flowers at 6,000.
Nice. That one's interesting.
A dude that nobody's on. I got a few of those too. But my favorite one, shit. It's probably Devon Vele, I suppose. I was going to say Michael Wilson or Malik Washington, but Vele seems a little bit safer. Favorite tight end?
Dalton Schultz, and then paying down even more from that pay down would be Stone.
Yeah, I'm with you on Stone. I like Stone, Strange. Those are obvious. Again, I told you I'd play him above my dude, but I'll give you a weird one here. Chico Kongwu scores.
Respect. If you had to choose Ridley or Zay Flowers.
Oh, man, that's tough. I mean, probably.
Ridley's got the back and forth potential, right? Where Zay could be down at halftime.
Yeah, but I'm not sure it matters. Like, at least in, like, I made the case about the last blowout for the Ravens. It didn't matter. You have Lamar, who's probably still, who is still an MVP consideration. Maybe he wants to air it out to his dude a little bit. I mean, the matchup's phenomenal for Zay. I would probably say Zay over Ridley just because the way I think about it is I can just go pick up like NWI or another Titans guy and kind of hedge it that way. Who has a bigger game? Probably Zay. I don't know, man. That one's tough. Like, don't hold me to that.
No,
the words that I'm saying, I don't really believe, by the way. I don't believe my own take there.
Fuck, dude. My main lineup has room for that. It's either Zay Flowers or Ridley.
Why don't you just play one of them and then go with the other one's like touchdown prop?
Yeah, probably should do that. Okay.
And hopefully you don't lose both.
Ideally.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it. Let's check the little YouTube comments here that I can't hardly read. Phil saying Palmer over 3.5 catches, still at plus 135. What's up, Phil?
I miss old Philly.
I like Phil a lot. Oh, yeah. All right. So what are we going to do in the Njoku out?
Nothing.
No Atkins?
No. I feel like that game's still going to be just super, super slow pace. Like Atkins, I feel like you're playing for 3 catches, 24 yards, and praying he gets in the box. Where Stone Smart, I think, is a continuous part of that offense. We saw a lot of targets last week, which is good. Like he jumped right into that role. We know that, Greg Roman loves to use the tight end. Harbaugh loves to use the tight end. It just seems like much more of a proven commodity.
Yeah, but I agree with that. But you also got Jameis Winston throwing the ball for the Cleveland Browns. Like, if you're out there running a route, like, you're open. So, like, Atkins can definitely be involved here. 2,700 going up against the Chiefs in what a rainy, windy game. So maybe you get a little more, shorter checkdowns. Atkins used to be on the Texans, I want to say. Like, he's a guy. He can catch it. 24 receptions on the year.
He doesn't run routes like David Njoku, though.
This is true.
Yeah, it's not like that vacant production just goes right to him, in my opinion.
It's going somewhere. People are on Jerome Ford this week. Do you understand that?
No, I want nothing to do with any other running backs. Respectfully.
I mean, so it's got to be like Judy or more. Like, I mean, we're basically looking at like a Washington situation here. You don't have Njoku. So, I mean, Winston's going to throw it 50 times. They're playing the Chiefs. I don't hate it. Are we too low on the Browns here?
No, I don't think so. They do throw it 50 times, though. I mean, I'm okay with Elijah Moore if you had to go there. Jerry Jeudy, I mean, 6,200. I figured his ownership would be through the roof. It doesn't look crazy, but yeah, I'd rather pick on the outside of Kansas City though, personally.
Let me just do a KC Cleveland weather update and we'll get out of here. This is from Kevin Roth. Let's start with the part of forecast that's a lock. Winds will be blowing around 15 miles per hour, sustained. That's not a big deal. Gusting around 30. Not a huge deal. It's a gust. Won't impact every player throw, yada, yada. Temperature 40 degrees. Feels like 30. Now for the less certain part of the forecast, the rain. We'll see a steady soaking rain pregame, but that steady rain should be coming to an end around game time. Okay. So basically, we don't know. If the weather wasn't a factor, I was going to be all over Patrick Mahomes for what it's worth.
Yes, and I loved Xavier Worthy at that price in this matchup, but can't do it now.
All right, cool. All right, we're out of here. If you want to sign up, windailysports.com, and you should, we've got an optimizer over there for NFL and NBA, which is in season right now, along with projections, articles for NFL, and premium Discord to answer your questions. Go ahead and do that now. Promo code SICKO. You can sign up for a week. It's cheap as shit. Put it on your Christmas list to Santa Claus if you want your parents to know that you're a degenerate gambler when they start looking into what Win Daily Sports is. Or you can go over to our merch shop, by the way. We've got a Win Daily merch shop. If you didn't know that, I need to load up before I go down to New Orleans for the Super Bowl. Give me some Win Daily merch. Appreciate everybody watching today. We will see you on the leaderboard. See ya.